Nicole and I are super excited to be here today at Thompson High School with Miss Kent, Mr. Bubbett, and Miss McRae, and we are celebrating them today because they'll all be retiring after many years of dedication at Thompson High School. And first of all, we just want to say thank you because you guys have impacted our lives personally, and we know hundreds of other students that you've impacted and families, and so thank you for your dedication to the community, to Thompson High School, and to us. And so we're just excited to be here talking to y'all. We're gonna get some good stories today, Nicole.
Yes, we are, guys.
So tell us, we'll start with you, Miss Kent.
Okay.
Just tell us when you got started in your career and how long you've been here. Give us a little background.
Well, I was the organist at Elliotsville Presbyterian Church, and Mr. Fulton walked up to me in June one Sunday and said, "Would you like to come interview for a job at Thompson?" My secretary, 12 months. And I did, and I started that July 1. But before that, I taught typing there in community ed, and that was the beginning.
And what year was that?
I think it was 81.
And you were thinking about how many principals have you worked under?
I've worked under 8.
8, and countless assistant principals.
I couldn't name them all.
That's
Yes,
great.
and 4 bookkeepers. I'm on my 4th bookkeeper.
Wow. That's great. What about you, Mr. Bubbett?
Well, I first started teaching in 1981 in Washington, Georgia, a little small town up in northeast Georgia. My wife and I lived there for 4 years, and then we came to Demopolis and taught there for 5 years. And then I taught at Irwin High School, which is out in Center Point, which isn't there anymore. And then for 3 years, and then landed here in 1993. Been teaching for 38 years overall, but this is my 26th year at Thompson. We were talking about Elson Hood, who was my predecessor,
Yes.
was here for 24 years.
He was.
And so I've been here 2 years longer than him.
But you're still not a new band director.
I'm still the new band director. Yeah.
All right, Ms. McRae, what about you?
Well, I've been teaching since 1980. I started in the fall of 1980 at Thompson Elementary School, which is also not here anymore. I taught at the elementary level for 10 years, and then the high school art teacher retired and I requested a transfer, so I've been here since 1990. But my life as a warrior actually started in 1955 when I started first grade at the old Rock Building, which is also not here. So I've been a warrior most of my life.
You definitely win the award for longest warrior here, right?
Yeah.
Well, and probably I think that my ID number with the school system is the lowest number of anybody's. I only have 3 digits in my number.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Well, with being here so long, guys, I know you've seen lots of changes over the years. What are some of the biggest changes that have stuck out to you?
Oh gosh, it's how young the principals get, I think. That's, I never, forever, principals always had gray hair the whole time. They didn't just come as a young person who got prematurely gray after a couple of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the biggest changes I've seen, we're sitting in it. Coming into this facility, into this school, when I started at what was then the new high school, what's now the old school was only 5 years old. When I moved into it, it still had that new school smell to it. And we were still a part of Shelby County, and it was still very much a rural mindset of things. And now, this time later, we've moved into this incredible facility, and the whole demographics, the whole community has changed here. It doesn't even resemble what it was 26 years ago. Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Miss Kim?
Well, I started high school, working in the high school in the 6th grade center with an IBM Selectric 2 typewriter and no intercom. And then I moved to 100 Warrior Drive and then to this new school. The biggest change is going from an IBM Selectric 2 typewriter to the computers and an intercom. I love my office aides. I work them to death, so that's a huge huge.
Yeah, Nicole and I were both lucky enough to be office
Office
aides.
Yes,
I
you
guess we
were.
don't do the Scantron thing for
No,
attendance anymore
no,
either.
but that's
they
a
do.
big.
They do
Oh, you do?
and stuff.
Some
Not
people
for
still
attendance,
do
though.
the Scantron test.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
test.
for attendance though.
Yes.
Do we not do those?
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
they can key it in themselves, the teachers. Nice.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That helps you out.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some of your, well, let me just say this first. How hard is it going to be to leave this new school? I mean, I know
Terrible.
no, Mr. Bubby, you've got
It's
all,
beautiful.
in the art room, I mean,
Oh,
state of the
it's
art.
phenomenal. It's,
Yes.
you know, it will be hard to go.
Yes.
It's already hard, you know, packing stuff up, deciding what to take and what I'm not going to need anymore, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag of emotions and you know, coming into this, I actually had thought about retiring last year, and my wife said, you know, you really need to give yourself a chance to get into the new school, and she was right, and I wasn't ready because I was like, well, I don't know if I want to or not, that kind of deal. But like everybody's told me, they said you will know when it's time, and sure enough, I had that epiphany sometime this fall. It was like, yeah. And I've been in the new school now. We have a wonderful band staff, and the program is in a place right now where it's the perfect time to hand it off. And I've got some other things that are that in the works too. So
Yeah, we're going to talk about those in a little bit.
Absolutely. So guys, as far as memorable moments, memorable students maybe, what sticks out? Is there a good story you want to share with us, like a memorable moment? That's appropriate. That's
Yeah, but you can
appropriate
tell.
for camera.
One of the funniest things that ever happened in my classroom, and this is how long ago it's been, we had 2 Hispanic students in our school at the time. And one of them supposedly was non-English speaking, and he had been, and so he was in the same class with the other Hispanic kid, and so they, you know, that's how the communication took place. And we were doing a unit on pottery and working on a potter's wheel, and I was just finishing up something that I had worked on the prior period, and so the non-English speaking kid comes in. And the minute he gets to the door and he sees me pulling this clay up on the wheel, he goes, "Oh my goodness, that is awesome!" And I said, "You are so busted." He had been just riding on I can't speak English for months. But I made sure everybody knew he could speak English just about as well as I could. So, kids never change. You know, they're always going to find some way to beat the system.
you know, there are 2 things that came to my mind, and one of them is kind of timely and not exactly happy events, but this is the anniversary of the shooting in Columbine coming up, and I remember the day after that happened here. There was a huge police presence and everything, and not that they thought anything was going to happen, but just that reassurance from the community that we're protecting you and working to take care of you. I remember feeling they were here. They were here for at least a good week after that.
Yes, they were.
The other thing happened after 9/11 in 2001, I guess that would have been. That February 14th on Valentine's Day, somebody had called in a bomb threat to the school. Of course, in the post 9/11 world, we're like skittish as all get out. We evacuated the old high school into what was then the new middle school. Y'all remember that?
Yes, I do.
And they lined us all up, and we marched all kids. I don't know what the enrollment was there, but it was over 1,000, I'm sure, at that point.
Yes.
And we marched everybody down there. Well, the line plant on the other side of 31, they were doing their normal thing, and they would set off dynamite and stuff that would rattle the windows in the elementary school then. And you've got the whole school going over there, and everybody's really being serious about it. The kids aren't acting goofy at all, because, you know, that was a real deal. I mean, our ROTC instructor at the time, George Allen, before he would let us evacuate the school, he went and checked the tree lines. You know, that was
Stuff
kind
we
of the
wouldn't even think
world.
about.
Yeah, right. So anyway, we're walking from the old high school to the middle school, and some of those blasting charges at the line plant go off.
Yes.
And you've never heard 1,000 people that got deadly quiet. So, but at the same time, in those horrible moments, those are also tend to be our best moments too, because we all come together and we stand united and support each other. And that's what I remember from that, is that feeling of like, you know, when it counts, these kids get it.
Yeah.
They go, oh, they don't understand. Well, when it counts, they do. Now, if you're feeding them something else, they'll blow it off, just like we all do. But when it counts, they got it, and they rose to the occasion. That's what I remember from those.
That's awesome. Ms. Kent?
Well, it sounds like I'm bragging, but my best memory is my first year here, and my last year here, I was support person of the year.
Oh,
and then in the
that's
middle,
awesome.
I got it one other time. And my first time, Ellie Glasscox was my superintendent, and Pat Bulger, they gave us a luncheon at Central Office in Columbiana, and that was fun. Anyway,
And
so
very
when
well
I got
deserved,
it,
by the way.
when I got it the last time, I thought it's time to go. So there's a lot of memories, but I would cry if I told them.
Oh, I know. So your Noah is graduating this year,
Oh,
your oldest
yes,
grandson.
yes, and I've
so that's
loved
kind of the
every
perfect
minute.
time
Yes.
too.
Yes, it is. So I'm going to Alabama with him and fix his breakfast.
Sounds great.
I could be the house mother or
Yeah, you can.
whatever.
Well, you've been the house mother here at Thompson for a
I
long time.
have,
Yes,
and
you
I
have.
could go do that at Alabama, and Pudgy would love to know I'm going to Alabama.
So I know this is probably an emotional question, but what are you going to miss the most? And then what are your future plans?
Well, I love this lovely building and everyone. Don't ask me that question. I don't know my plans. Go to somebody else. I'm not answering that.
Hands down, the people that you work with. You know, you kind of take that for granted a little bit, but seeing Peggy and seeing Pudgy all the time, and just, you know, the people that have been here with you the most, you know, you form bonds, you form relationships. Like I said, the staff that we have right now, I love coming to work with the people we have. Justin White, Chris Moore, Ashton Bowles, Michael Chambliss, Meredith Green, the people that are in our, we love hanging out together. We'll finish up a band contest and we'll go hang out. So I've never had that before. Now, I'm old enough to be their parent, all of them.
I'm
but
their
still,
grandparent.
it's still, you know, I'm going to miss that. Being able to teach at just the most fundamental level is just something that's in your DNA. That's something you're called to do. And
Oh, definitely.
and this kind of ties back into some of the changes you're talking about. Since I started 38 years ago, it's harder to just focus on teaching. It's everything else. The teaching has gotten to be this big, and everything else that's expected of you has gotten to be this big. So, but I'll miss the kids, I'll miss conducting, I'll miss making music with them, and I'll miss the people I work with. Yeah.
And one of the things I'll miss is watching John direct.
Yes.
He is so much fun to watch because he gets into it so much. You know that he's really passionate about it. I'm also, not to be redundant, but I'm also going to miss kids. I just love my students. I was saying earlier that when I reached the proper retirement age, I was contemplating retirement, and I don't know, I just sort of had this thought before I left for school one morning, and I was thinking about, you know, I could retire, and I didn't get but about 5 miles up the interstate, and I had a panic attack, and I had to pull over off the road because I just thought, I think this is a sign I'm not ready to retire.
Yeah.
And so it is something that I guess you know, but I just felt people have asked me for years. I mean, for years, because you know I do have a few years over, you know, my 25. But people have asked me for years why I don't retire. That I don't know what I'm missing. And when are you going to retire? And I say, well, I guess when I'm done, when I get through teaching. I feel like I have things left to teach. And I do feel that way. And I always ask my seniors that I've had at least 2 or 3 years, I'll say, look, it's up to you to tell me that it's time to go home. It won't hurt my feelings. I don't want to be that teacher that stayed too long and was ineffective. So just tell me, and I'll appreciate it. But nobody's ever told me so. But I know this year it's time.
Well, you know, that's what I love about you and the two of you is that I've watched you guys over the years, and y'all have changed with the times. You've gone with the flow. You haven't been stuck in how you wanted to do things, and you've really continued to impact people greatly. And so I have no doubt that the three of you are going to continue to impact people in a huge way.
Well, I think
agree.
adaptability is, one of the
Yes.
traits of a good teacher. You have to adapt and move forward, and so I'm looking forward to adapting and moving forward in my next life. I posted a picture a few weeks ago that said it was like signing day, and I was excited to announce that I was going to be going on to play at the next level.
Right.
I bought an awesome porch swing that my son is going to hang for me this weekend, and I'm going to sit out there and do all kind of stuff.
Well, you guys deserve it. You have made such a beautiful impact on Kim and I and so many other students throughout your time here. And we are so sad to see you go, but we're so thankful for what you have done here. And we're just looking forward to seeing you around town, maybe at the grocery store or something. Alabaster, I know that these teachers have made such an impact on me, and I know they have on you as well. If you've got stories, memories, or well wishes that you would like to pose to Miss Kent, Mr. Bubbett, or Miss McRae, please do so in the comments.